Hi there, Dead Ideal Boy here, back with another video, and anytime you see this name in your lobby, that's right, Chris, only kidding, Super GT, you know you might have a race on your hands that is video worthy. Now, he's the Gran Turismo content creating GOAT, he's inevitably going to hit 1 million subscribers at some point, and anytime you're in a race with Super GT, it is... yeah, just enjoy it. Just savour the moment. Now, I'm a Super GT fanboy and I'm not going to apologise for it. And while I'm not apologising for it, you should be subscribing to the channel, helping us make our way. Only 50,000 short of being a big channel, so just keep subscribing. I'm sure we'll get there. But yeah, enough of the begging. But yeah, anytime you're in a race with Super GT, you know that it's going to be, hopefully, a good race, because he's just a really good driver, really good racer, and you know what he brings to the table. He's just a legend. So I'm not going to apologise for fanboying, because he's the reason I started sim racing. So, you know, they say don't meet your heroes, and although I've never met him personally, I feel like I owe him a debt of gratitude for bringing sim racing into my life during lockdown. It's just been it's revolutionary. Well, revolutionised? I don't think that's the right word, but it's been a bit of a revelation in my life. Opened my eyes to a whole world out there, whole community, and yeah, I'm ever eternally grateful to the great man for making such good content that just hooked me in and opened up this world of sim racing to me. So anyway, we've finally made it to a level where we can race against him. Now, we have raced against Super GT a few times in the past for some good races, but this, I think, is the best I've ever raced against him, because albeit I suffer sometimes badly with nerves, pre-race nerves, during the race nerves, even post-race nerves. It's always heightened by the fact you've got such big names in the lobby with you, and there's no bigger name than Super GT as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, we've managed to hold it together for one lap, so that's at least one thing. We've not binned it in lap 1, so we've not embarrassed ourselves. But Super GT has made it now past Patrick, and he's up to P3 and within a second. Now, we managed to kind of hold him off due to, I would say partly due to race nerves, but he was certainly quicker race pace wise. I think he could have improved that qualification time if he had taken a number of laps to do it. But you can see here, he's now glued to the bumper of me as we head into turn 1, and I just opened the door slightly to see if he's going to go through it, and he did. He took the opportunity and he slotted through absolutely beautifully. Now, that was partly a decision I made because my pace was suffering having him so close behind, because I was not thinking about anything in front of me. I was just constantly looking at my radar. I was just constantly, you know, hoping not to bin it. I was looking back in my rear view. If just everything was not conducive to good speed around this track. So I opened that door just to see if he would take it, and he took the opportunity to go past. And you know what? That was fine by me, because it then allowed me to really check where my pace was in comparison to his, and it gave me somebody to follow. Now, I'm a much better driver at following than I am at leading, and I know that. So anytime I start in pole or anything like that, it's never great for me. However, following Super GT, there's a level of pressure, because you don't want to send him into oblivion and star in one of his videos for all the wrong reasons. Now, how he saved that, I will never know, because he had all four tyres on the green stuff. Now, that stuff is basically like ice. Now, he managed to back off, control the car, get it back onto the tarmac, just alongside me, and I thought to myself, well, this is going to be an easy pass. But he managed to get the grip back on the car and the power down to the point where he held the position, and it was just a piece of driving that just, I still don't know how he did it. I really don't. We'll show you the replay after this race because it was quite phenomenal. Now, he then picked up a penalty here, a half-second penalty, which told me maybe he was feeling a little bit of pressure. Maybe he was just not having a great day around 130R. In fact, I watched his video and I know he wasn't having a great day around 130R. However, he put the hammer down and he opened up the gap to about 1.5 seconds, and that was enough. Although I got quite a good run out of Spoon here, as you can see, we bring the gap back down to 1.2 seconds. He serves his penalty and we catch right back up with him, but just wasn't enough to make the move. I was hoping I was going to be able to get past him, but although we're actually starting to pick up our pace, we just couldn't get the job done there. And he holds the gap, and you can see here we close right in on him as we go through the bus stop, the Casio Triangle, sorry, I believe it's called, and off we go to start the second last lap. Now you can see how far over to the right he goes, which tells me that he was, you know, thinking about me behind in terms of defending, which was good, because in all the other races I've had with Super GT, I don't think I've ever really made him think about where I was on the track, because he's a faster driver than me, and he's probably just going past me and then never giving me a second thought. So this race was a bit different in the fact that we were able to hang with him. We're obviously able to perhaps force a little mistake here and there, but we just couldn't get that mistake out of him. And although we kept well within the slipstream range and well within a second of him, I just couldn't get the job done. You can see here he was just at a little bit extra speed. I think he was using second gear coming out of the Casio Triangle. It was just always getting him that little bit of drive up the home straight, and we just couldn't quite capitalise on him. Now that race you've just seen featured in Super GT's video. Now a little bit of post-race chat there where I compliment him on the save at turn 1, and he comments back saying he had to really back out there. But if we have a look here is that save at turn 1, and you can see it there. I mean, certainly the rear tyres off onto the AstroTurf, and for him to actually save that, keep the car going in the right direction and then hold off, it's just unbelievable. Now here we go again. The next day we jump in and we're live streaming, and I find myself in front of, well, in pole position. Look at the names in this. We've got Super GT, we've got Tidgney, we've got Wind. You had guys like Will Murdoch at the back. I mean, it was just the who's who of GranTurismo sport. It was unreal. Now this was my first race of the live stream, and I was absolutely bricking it. I'm not going to lie, I was bricking it. So, I mean, the pressure that I felt in that previous race with Super GT on my tail and then trying to close him down, it had nothing on this race. This was huge. Now, live streaming on it was just incredible in terms of, you know, you couldn't ask for a better lobby to be live streaming in, because it had everything in it in terms of just the names, the talent, and for some reason me at the front. So although I'd set a really good qualifying time, my race pace wasn't probably as good as that, and certainly for the first race of the day with no warm-up, this isn't the position I wanted to find myself in. So lap 1 was obviously going to be very, very crucial in this whole race, because I wanted to at least settle into the race and prove that I belonged, if nothing else. That was part of the goal. But I knew also that, for instance, Tidgney was streaming at the time, so he had hundreds of people watching this, and you know that there's a potential that Super GT might make a video out of it if he has a good result and a good race. So yeah, there's tons of pressure on me at this point, and I'm having to try and remain calm, remain focused, and pretend to my viewers that this is a normal occurrence, you know, finding yourself racing against such illuminaries of the GranTurismo content creation world. But here we are, we've managed to survive lap 1 against some very, very, very quick drivers. I mean, the likes of Wind is one of the quickest players in the world at the moment, so yeah, there's a lot going through my mind right now. So just trying to remain focused. We're going to move over to the right. You can see in the radar that Ace is well within striking distance, just a couple of tenths behind. And we're going to head into turn 1 now. Heading into turn 1 here, we just take the line. We're going to come back in here, but Ace just throws it up the inside. A really good pass, to be honest with you. Took me by surprise, and you can see we run a little bit wide because of that now. And running wide, we then allowed the door to open to the British driver behind us, and he manages to hang it round the outside. The two of us going side by side. Some really good racing, to be honest with you, but it kind of unsettled me, the whole thing, and I was, you know, a little bit off kilter, and it really did make me susceptible to another pass. But we managed to kind of when I say just lose the 2 positions, I was actually quite happy that we only lost 2 positions, because I think that it was like having a pack of frenzied piranhas waiting for some meat to be thrown to them, because, well, I was the meat in that occasion. But we managed to hold it together. In fact, by the time we got to the end of lap 4, we'd still managed to remain in 3rd place and sort of stay within touching distance and hold off Wind as well. So Wind now gets the run up the inside of us, and although we've got the power advantage in the GTR, Wind is able to brake a lot later in that Evo, and he makes full use of that. Now, by Wind getting past, it leaves us now within, well, in striking distance of Super GT and Tigeny. So we really need to try and focus and stay with Wind as much as we can, and kind of try and hopefully use his slipstream to fend off, because I really did want to get a result this time against Super GT. He beat me in the last race that we had, so I thought it would be nice to try and show that we've got a little bit of pace, that we can actually get a result. And although we've dropped back from pole position to 4th place, I'm not surprised by that, to be honest with you, as the players that have got past us are all top class players, and we've got some really top class players behind me now. So, you know, we were well, I felt well out of my depth at this point, in terms of my ability and speed. However, we're here on merit. We've got to try and remain confident that we can do this and hold Super GT off as long as possible. Now, we're doing a better job than I thought we would do, to be honest with you, because I thought we would probably have binned it by now. However, we haven't, and we're still hanging around in the slipstream of Wind, who's catching P2. Now, there's a decision to make as well, because lap 5 is a lap where you can pit. I was more comfortable pitting at the end of lap 6, because the soft tyres on the GTR are dead by the last lap if you pit on lap 5. However, it is a strategy. You can pit early, get the jump, and then just hang on if you can through the last lap. Now, you can see Wind, he's decided to go for the 5-5 strategy. Super GT has stayed out, which is interesting, because he's obviously fancying my position. But you can see by the end of lap 6, we had caught back up with the British driver in P2, and into the pits we go, followed by Super GT. Now, that did unfortunately allow those drivers behind to get the jump. So Tigeny and Calster both pitted on lap 5, both got the jump on us. So that wasn't great from a strategy point of view. However, those guys would suffer probably quite badly on the last lap in terms of tyre wear, whereas we would still, or the lap 6 guys would still have a little bit of life left to try and push on that last lap. Now, we're now in lap 7, and we've still managed to keep Super GT behind us, which is better, as I said, than I thought I could do at this point. Now, coming out of the Casio Triangle at the end of lap 7, you can see we're now still well within striking distance of Super GT, but we're still maintaining, we're still hanging around with obviously the crowd in front of us. And now as we come into turn 1, I just ran a little bit wide there and just about saved it. However, it does give Steve the option there to stick a nose in, and stick a nose in he does. And now as we give each other space, we just come round the right hander, and possibly a combination of me turning into him and his nose being there. However, we do make contact, and I am sent not quite into the Shadow Realm, although that would have been something to tell the grandkids about. if you're sent to the shadow realm by the man who created it. But Super GT waits for me. He must have had a better view of it than me and felt that the touch was maybe just a little bit on his part. I don't know. Stupidly, in my excitement, and you will see why at the end of this, in my excitement I forgot to save the replay. Like I said, hang on to the end and you'll see why I forget to save the replay. However, he did wait for us, so again it shows the mark of the man. An absolute gentleman on the track, waiting for you when he, perhaps didn't need to, because I think I, if anything, maybe didn't give him enough space. I actually thought I was further past him when I was turning right than I probably was, and maybe just didn't give him the required room. However, I think due to the good battles we've had, and certainly in the previous day we had some really good racing, I think it was just about respect, and he probably knew that it was just a racing incident, a coming together, and that he didn't want to beat me by means of me going off into the gravel. But you can see here he pulls off an absolutely blinder. I mean, that move there, I didn't see it coming, and he just absolutely sent it. Avoids a penalty, so absolutely shows the skill as well that he possesses to get overtakes done. You can probably see why he races real cars nowadays, because he really does have that kind of killer instinct when he sees a gap. Now, you might have noticed the yellow flags back there as well. That was wind spinning out, so we have actually picked up a position, and we're now in P Steve. We've actually got the coveted P6 with Super GT and P5, so maybe Super GT needs to think about his new position. Maybe P5 is the new P Steve, maybe, who knows, because P6 is certainly becoming something I'm more accustomed to these days, and I think it's the second time we've raced Steve and got P6 in the same lobby as him, so maybe, just maybe, that is the new Deadeye Del Boy position. Anyway, so coming up to the end of lap, or well, the end of the race, lap 10, that's the last lap, more commonly known as. We've got the British/Australian driver Fat VK coming up behind us, so we're going to have to work a little bit here to hang on to P6, because Steve is just kind of driven away from us now, and shown that he does have indeed that bit more speed than his round Suzuka in the GTR. But we're going to hold on to P Steve and take the 6th position, the Super GT position, really the one I wanted, better than a win in my view, so delighted with that at the end of the day. Although we had a little coming together with Steve, that just made it even better for me. But yeah, just listen to what happened in my live stream. Oh mate, Super GT's in the chat, lads. It's finally happened. I knew that something good would come of getting pushed off the track by the legend. Thank you, mate. Steve, honestly, an absolute honour. It's an honour to have you even pop into the chat. Seriously. Just, aye, that's it. That's my YouTube career complete. We've done it. We've ticked all the boxes. Seriously, Super GT, the absolute man, myth, legend. What a very good racing, as always. We've had some good battles here, but you've just got the pace on me. I just can't keep you behind. I can try and keep up with you, but you're just too quick for me. But yeah, it's brilliant racing with you. It's just such a pleasure, because you know you're going to get a good race, a good, clean, fair race, no matter what. Genuinely can't believe Super GT popped into the chat. So yeah, there you have it. Life goals complete. Married, kid, race Super GT. Super GT comes into lobby on the live stream and into your live chat. So there you go. That's it. It's done. Ticked off all the boxes. We can hang our hats on that one. But yeah, fantastic all round to basically just have that experience of racing with Super GT, and we even got a shout out in his video, so I mean, doesn't get much better than that. So thank you to everybody who's subscribed off the back of the Super GT video, who's watched this one. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and this is probably going to be the last video before the new year. So thank you for all the support we've had in 2022. Thank you to all the people who have hit the like button, subscribed to the channel, who've become channel members, who've donated in super chats. Everything that's happened has just been beyond my wildest dreams, and I can't thank you all enough. So yeah, we'll look forward to pushing on even more in 2023, and yeah, have a great new year everybody, and yeah, can't wait for the next chapter on the channel. So see you all again the next time. Goodbye.